What if I told you that right now, yes, right now, sitting here at the tail end of 2022 on the verge of new Mac releases, was actually the best time to buy a new Mac? You'd say I'm crazy, right? Well, maybe not, because I'm going to tell you why I think despite all the supply chain hangups and the disappointment of no new Macs coming out until 2023, why this is actually the best time to buy a new Mac, if you'll just hear me out. Now, as we go through this video, I'll let you know up front that I have linked every Mac worth buying in my description below, so make sure you go check that out, with hopefully a nice discount if you caught this video at the right time. But let's rewind a bit because I want to go back to a conversation I was having recently with a friend who shall remain nameless, and he was disappointed with the recent report that Apple would not be releasing any new Macs until the spring of 2023. And you can tell he's a good friend, right? Because that's a video I made recently, so you know he's watching the channel, as are all of you. A lot of you watching this channel have saw that video, and you were also disappointed in the fact that Apple would not be releasing any new Macs until March of next year at the earliest. And I think your disappointment is only amplified at this point, because when Apple switched away from Intel over to their own custom Apple silicon, I think the natural assumption was that Apple would have not only more control on the type of Macs it was able to build, but also tighter control on the chips themselves, which should have resulted in more timely updates, free from the supply chain whims of Intel. Apple only had to rely on its own update cycle, and we should have seen a healthy update cycle on new Macs at least once a year. However, if you go over to the Mac Rumors buying page and start looking at a lot of these Macs, you can see that they have not been updated in over a year, and some are really teetering on a pretty long update cycle, which is kind of making you go, what was the point of switching over to these new chips anyway? However, you're smart, you watch this channel, and you're probably aware that this probably did not materialize not entirely out of Apple's own fault. Every story we've heard regarding tech for this past year had some sort of side story about the manufacturing woes due to chip shortages, and while it seemed like Apple was immune to the chip shortage for a while, it appears that even the unshakable Apple is now feeling the supply chain crunch. This is clearly evident in a recent press release where they acknowledge that they won't be able to meet iPhone 14 Pro demand. This is not only due to the fact that the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max are extremely popular phones, and by all metrics outselling the normal iPhone 14 models, but also because of manufacturing issues in the supply chain. And it's starting to be apparent why Apple did not have this Rumor November Mac event this year. If Apple is having trouble manufacturing and securing parts for their most popular products, the same is probably true for products across the entire lineup. And when you consider the supply chain woes that Apple is facing, some of these strange product releases and the timing of these product releases start to make a lot of sense. Now, as many excuses as I can make for Apple as why they are not shipping timely updates to their Mac lineup, or why you can't walk into a store right now and buy an iPhone 14 Pro until 2023, it doesn't solve your problem. If you are watching this video right now, you're probably in a very similar boat to my friend. You have been waiting for new Mac updates, and like a well-researched customer, you have been paying attention to the rumor mill, and you were expecting new Macs to drop before the end of this year. You did everything right. But listen, the reality is they aren't here, and that may not be the timing you were expecting, especially for the holiday season, where maybe a Mac was on your wish list, or you were looking to buy a Mac as a gift for someone else. And if that's you, let me know, because I can use a friend like you if you're buying everyone new Macs. That sounds great. I don't need any new Macs, but it's always good to have friends with money. But seriously, should you wait for new Macs? I mean, let's be honest, even if they aren't here in November, March is like 4 months away, and for some people watching this video, that feels like a short time to wait to ensure that you have the best cutting-edge piece of tech on the market. For others, that is a painfully long wait for a product you are expecting to be using right now. I know, I've been in a very similar situation before. So as hard as this question is to answer for the vast majority of people out there, I'm here to tell you that buying a MacBook Pro or a Mac Mini or an M1 iMac or any other Apple Silicon Mac right now may not yield you the most cutting-edge Mac in 4 months if they release new Macs in that time, but it's not a dumb choice either. Listen, I can't tell you how good the new M2 Pro and M2 Max chips will be. Based on some rumors, they could be bigger improvements than what we got going from M1 to M2, but all you need to know is that yes, these next generation of Apple Silicon Macs, from the MacBook Pro to the Mac Mini, they are going to be faster. But that's all they might be. And just because the M2 versions of these machines will be faster, that doesn't mean their M1 counterparts are going to suddenly be slow. For day-to-day use, I can't even tell the difference between current M1 and M2 machines, and for power-intensive tasks, these M1 chips are still incredibly fast, and while you could always take a machine with even more power, like who doesn't want more power, there's a good chance that you may not even notice or be able to utilize all the power gains that these new systems will have. And listen, it seems pretty clear at this point based on the rumors that it doesn't sound like any of these next generation Macs are going to be getting any new hardware designs or any new groundbreaking hardware features. In fact, that's almost a certainty for products like the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro and the 24-inch iMac. These products already had their big updates with brand new big redesigns. The 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro received a thicker design with more ports, better speakers, a better webcam, and a fantastic mini LED display. It was a great update, but that update and those features for that design is probably going to stay with us for at least the next 4 years. And that new iMac could end up staying even longer with a similar design, considering the last iMac before that only received a redesign after 9 years on the market. So yes, while of course you'd take a spec bump update with more power, these current machines are going to look and operate in a very similar way with a very similar set of features for the foreseeable future. I think perhaps one of the biggest reasons to not wait right now and to go buy a current Apple Silicon Mac is availability and price. Remember how I started this video? Apple is feeling the pressure when it comes to the supply chain, and even when these next versions of the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro, as well as other popular Apple Silicon Macs are released, there's probably a good chance that for the first couple of months, Apple may not be able to meet the supply and demand of these products. That actually happened with a recent Mac refresh, or not a Mac refresh, a brand new Mac product, the Mac Studio, right? This was a pretty niche product, and when Apple released it, it was out of stock for months. And this is a product that was geared more towards the pro market, not the consumer market. And the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro, even though it's a pro product, it does overlap more with the overall consumer market for people that are just looking for the best laptop possible. So that may mean if you're currently waiting for a new Mac, if you're not one of the first customers to order, or you want a specific custom configuration, well, sadly, you may be waiting even longer. Furthermore, let's talk about price. A lot of the products we're talking about are very expensive machines. A base model 14-inch MacBook Pro alone would set you back $2,000. And when Apple upgrades these machines, they aren't going to be getting any cheaper. And there's even a slim possibility that they could increase in price depending on how the early economic state of 2023 shapes up. I'm not an economist. I'm not an economist. I'm not giving you any rumors on that. I have no clue. Don't listen to me. But if you're buying a new Mac today, you're not going to probably be paying full price, or at least that's the advice I would give you. But that's the part of the beauty of buying a Mac right now, right? And that is that you can find some amazing deals. Just looking on Amazon right now, as of the making of this video, you can find almost every single Mac that Apple sells on sale right now. The popular 14-inch MacBook Pro is down to $1599, and that is an absolute steal. And the 16-inch MacBook Pro is starting where the 14-inch MacBook Pro usually does on Apple's website, and it is down to $2,000. These are prices that will vanish quickly when the new M2 versions of these products are released. So while you get a more powerful machine on an M2 Pro or M2 Max MacBook Pro, you won't be getting a deep discount like this, and that performance boost may not be worth the additional $400 and the time waiting for these new products. If you need to start doing things on these MacBook Pros, if you're on a slower Intel machine, that old adage that time is money is very true. These machines are so fast. If you're upgrading from an old Intel machine, you're going to be saving so much time, and that's a lot of time in production if you're waiting for another 4 months. And not to focus this video on the MacBook Pros. I know those are popular machines, but even going down the line to recently refreshed Macs like the M2 MacBook Air, those are also down in price to as low as $1,049. The popular M1 MacBook Air, $799, and even the desktop Mac Mini, while not like a great deal, you can find it for like $669. And even Apple's expensive Studio display is $100 off right now. While if you're looking at Amazon right now, maybe you can't find a good deal on an iMac. I mean, it's down to $1249, that's $50 off. But listen, you want a better deal, you can even go over to Apple's refurbished store and find one for as low as $1,099. And this is perhaps the best reason why you should buy a Mac right now. The pricing options you have right now are great. And with the once-in-a-generation power boost with the M1 chip, which is already baked into those computers, any of these Macs are going to feel so much faster than any Intel Mac you might be hanging on to right now. The M1, the M1 Pro, the M1 Max, the M1 Ultra were and are game changers And that still holds true today. So don't feel bad if you've waited this long. Your patience is now rewarded with lower costs, and it is still going to deliver you an excellent computer that you'll love for years. So hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, and you're going to take my advice and buy a Mac right now, consider using my affiliate links down below to support the channel. I've linked to every Mac deal I can currently find. And as always, don't forget to like this video if it did help you out, and subscribe for more. And I will catch you in the next video. Take care, everyone.